Hi students, this is Miss Anna and we are going to talk about the AP exam. Dum dum dum. Okay, so you've just come off of your research papers and Christmas break, and I'm sure you look at the calendar and you're like, I have 3 months! And then the big day has come. Alright, but I don't want you to forget that everything you've been working on this year plays into your ability to do really well on the exam. The exam is not memorization based, it is skill based. Can you read a passage and understand what it means? Can you look at how the writer is expressing himself or herself through literary devices and rhetorical strategies? And can you express yourself well on the essay portion? If you can do those 3 things, then you're going to be just fine. Alright, so let's quickly look at how they grade the exam. So they grade, they as in the college board, not, the socialists, the communists, the Nazis. They're all really nice people, I'm sure. Anyway, to make it fair, because every year the questions differ, every year they choose different sections of essays and prose to look at. They know that some years the exam will be harder than other years. So what they do is they choose what they believe is a fair, sort of representative handful of essays from the students who took the exam that year. And it's chosen completely at random. I'm not sure whether it's 10 essays or 100 essays, but they choose what they think is representative. And they say, okay, so of our 10 essays, which one is the strongest essay? That strongest essay, written by an anonymous student somewhere in Minnesota, becomes our number 9, our top essay. And then out of those representative 10 essays, they figure out the grade scale for that year. So that means that they are grading on a curve. And some years, when the literature is obviously much easier, that scale will be a lot higher than the year when they choose something that's incredibly difficult and everyone just sort of does their best, but it's not, obviously the students had a harder time that year. Did you know that the average AP essay score is a 4 or a 5? That is because these timed essays, which many of you struggled with to begin with, are just so weird. I mean, when else are you going to have to think, okay, in 40 minutes, I need to express myself on a piece of literature I've never read before, answering these questions in just this very short period of time. A lot of people struggle with this. So if you, right now, in my class, and I'm a kind person, but not necessarily a kind grader. If you are getting above a 4 or a 5, something more like a 7 or an 8 or a 9, you probably don't have anything to worry about. But let's quickly look at the grade scale curve for 2007 and look at what you would have to get a 5 in 2007. So your final score is made up of 4 numbers. Your multiple choice score, plus your synthesis essay, plus your rhetorical strategies essay, plus your free choice, or your free response question, and that becomes your final score. If you got 80% in your multiple choice and a 7 on your rhetorical, on each of your essays, you got a 5. If, on the other hand, you got 20%, 3, you got a 1. You probably will need to do some preparation by yourself on your own, because each of you are at a slightly different place with being ready for the exam. So let's just quickly look at some ways you can prepare. Alright, so this is you. Smiley face. Yep. Big ears. Big ears are a sign of intelligence. Eyebrows. Nose. Okay. Alright. So you can be taking multiple choice questions on your own. There are plenty of practice exams you can get online, and Make sure to go, treat it just like you would the test. You can do the timer. There's the clock, and I would encourage you to do that. Make sure to go through and do the easy ones first, come back and do the hard ones, because they give you, that's a plus sign, they give you points for doing correct questions. They used to take points off for when you make a mistake. Alright, don't even worry about the timer, don't even worry about this. Just go through those questions on your own and look at the passages, look at the prompts, the questions for the passages, the MCQ questions, and think, okay, what is my gut instinct? Just really say, okay, what is my gut instinct? And then circle that and come back and see how close your gut instinct is. Probably a lot closer than you think. Where you need to be careful is when, in the test situation, sometimes you can be really stressed. So here is stress coming out of this guy's head. So just like a performance, just like a show, whether it's music or theater or whatever, you can reduce stress by practicing as much as possible. Something that happens when you are stressed in any kind of exam is that you don't read quite as well, and you make connections that don't really exist, and then that's when you can really struggle with these MCQs. So practice as much as possible. Try to think, okay, what does my gut instinct say? Let me just try that once through just for practice. And make sure to underline important parts of the passage, because you can look back at those quickly as you're filling out the bubble sheets, and then you won't have to totally look throughout the whole passage and say, oh, I thought the passage had said this, but I'm not entirely sure. If you underline. Another important way to study for the test is to do 5-minute outlines of essays, either in Cliff Notes or online. Even just going through and analyzing the passage will do you in good stead. Same idea. Make sure to underline. Underline important ideas, circle important strategies or devices. Put, huge notes in the margin. I'm a big fan of just putting a huge keyword in the margin for each idea in a passage. Really, you can do this in 5 minutes or 7 minutes and do your outline. Just say, for instance, mortality, if the first idea of a passage is mortality. So those are some ways to study. Work on MCQs, work on analyzing the passages for MCQs, do 5-minute outlines, work on underlining and circling, putting keywords. Just really being able to analyze a passage very quickly will do you very well. All right. Oh, bubble sheets. Let's quickly just talk about your bubble sheets. You've done them before. You've used them for PSATs. You probably already know this. However, if you need to skip a question in the multiple choice question section, make sure to very carefully leave that space blank in your bubble sheet, because every once in a while a student forgets to do that, and then they fill in the wrong answer to the right question in the bubble sheet, just throwing their whole bubble sheet off, and sometimes they don't have time to fully correct it. Okay, alright, so let us fast forward to May. The day has come. The day has come. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning to you. Alright, so the day has come. You're going to get up really early. You're going to go to your school with enough time to get to your right spot without... I always get lost in school, so I always had to give myself a little bit of extra time. You will do your MCQs first. Then you will get a short break to go to the bathroom. I recommend that you bring a snack with you. Snack, like M&Ms or an apple or something delicious, just to give you a little bit of extra energy for your essays. Okay, and then you're going to go do your essays. You can write your essays out of order. Just make sure to number them. So you say, okay, maybe I do number 3 first, but make sure to put that proper number up there at the top of the page so that the grader knows, okay, she's written, or he has written his essay out of order. You know, you do your outlines, you do all this stuff that you've been practicing all year, and you'll be just fine. Okay, so here's some stuff to just remember as you take new tasks. Use all of your time. If you get done early with your MCQs, go back through, double check them. You can even kind of use it as study if you're taking a push or any memorization based exam, which you should be very thankful this is not a memorization based exam. Then it's especially important to use those MCQs to remind yourself, oh, that's right, there was this battle called Gettysburg. In your case with AP Lang, you can go through the MCQs and just kind of remind yourself of terminology, maybe spelling of terminology. They are not going to mark you down for misspelling Zugma. But if you can spell it correctly, then that obviously helps you. With your essays, if you get done with a little bit of time to spare, go back through and do a little bit of editing. You know, maybe double check your spelling if you're like me. I am not the best speller, never was. What else? Oh yes, make sure you will be sitting at a desk for 3 hours with lots of tension coursing through your veins. Think of very simple, just physical exercises. You can you can do lemon face, where you squish up your face, and then lion face, just to kind of get rid of some of that tension. You can stretch your legs, and you're like, Anna, but this is a mental exam. I shouldn't be worrying about my body. But the truth is, you know, if your body's all tense, then it's going to be harder for you to think. So, you know, make sure to give yourself lots of time to get there so you're not tense when you start out. But if you get tense throughout the exam, make sure to, you know, think, okay, I can wiggle my fingers around. I can do lemon face, lion face. I can stretch out my legs. And when you get that break, even if you don't particularly need to go to the bathroom, I would encourage you to go to the bathroom. Remember, you're going to need pencils for the exam, and pencils plural sense, with erasers, because you know, sometimes you need that eraser. Alright guys, so here is your question for this lecture. What are 2 to 3 things that you are going to do before the exam on a weekly basis to study and prepare? So what are 2 to 3 things you are going to do before the exam to study and prepare for the day? And especially you movement dancer folks, if you have any other stretches that you think your classmates should know about that obviously are not putting your feet up by your ears, because that you can't do that in a desk, but any other stretches that you think your classmates should know about, this is a good time to share them. Alright, thanks a lot guys. Bye-bye.